The renowned UFO researcher J. Allen Hynek was a major force in ufology circles, and also a key influence in the notorious Project Blue Book investigation. But perhaps the thing he is most remembered for is his world-famous method for measuring alien experiences. This is Unveiled, and today we're answering the extraordinary question, what if you have a close encounter of the third kind?
Are you a fiend for facts? Are you constantly curious? Then why not subscribe to Unveiled for more clips like this one and ring the bell for more fascinating content.
The original Hynek scale, first proposed by Hynek in 1972 in his book The UFO Experience, A Scientific Inquiry, included 3 distinct types of alien encounter: close encounters of the first kind, the second kind, and the third kind. For Hynek, who also recognized that there were some encounters that couldn't be classified as close at all, like the seeing of lights far off in the distance, the first kind entailed seeing a UFO less than 500 feet away. The second kind was when a UFO had a physical effect on the world around it, including scorch marks and crop circles. And the third kind was an encounter in which an animate entity was witnessed. From the beginning, this entity didn't have to be a little green man, despite what traditional sci-fi movies often show. It could also be a robot, or even appear to be a human being, perhaps a time traveler, or some kind of shape-shifting creature assuming a familiar humanoid form. Hynek's scale has since been extended on various occasions, and it now stretches up to close encounters of the seventh kind in the minds of many. But the third kind has always proven to be the most popular level, even itself getting subdivided into 6 different categories ranked A to F by another ufologist, Ted Blocker, all of which reflects how UFO reports have, historically, had a lot of variety and diversity to them. But perhaps that's none too surprising when you consider that, according to a 2019 survey by the polling company Gallup, 16% of Americans have reportedly seen a UFO. If you were to experience a third kind encounter in the most general definition, meaning you'd run into a living creature that's most probably the occupant of a spacecraft, exactly what would happen to you depends on what kind of entity you're dealing with. Meeting a human time traveler in a time machine, for example, could still count as a close encounter of the third kind, but it probably wouldn't feel quite so strange as meeting a full-blown extraterrestrial. Yes, the whole time travel thing would feel pretty weird, but you'd be able to recognize them as another human at least, and you would have a much easier time communicating with them, because even if they spoke a different language, they would at least be speaking in a physical way you could comprehend. Assuming as well that a human time traveler from the future will have specifically picked your particular time and place to travel back to, it's a reasonable bet that they themselves will be prepared and capable enough to alert and convince you as to what was happening, revealing to you precisely what they wanted and exactly why they were here. There's also some argument that it's much more likely that a time traveler really would come in peace, since they wouldn't want to mess around with past events which could risk their own existence. So perhaps in this scenario, there'd be nothing by way of strange experiments on innocent, unsuspecting people, which is reassuring. But let's be real. When most people think of close encounters and UFOs, they're not usually thinking of future versions of earthly human beings. They're thinking of aliens. Never before seen, not of this world, extraterrestrial creatures. So what might you be in for if you were to stumble across a flying saucer and a genuine, bona fide Martian, Venusian, or anything else from any other planet jumps out of it? Right away, there could be an impassable communication barrier. We're now imagining creatures which might speak a language that's never been uttered on Earth before. And they might not even speak in a way we might expect them to, via mouths or vocalizations or body language. This new level of confusion on our part isn't guaranteed though, not according to past cases at least. In arguably the most famous alien abduction case of all time, the abduction of Americans Barney and Betty Hill in 1961, Betty reported that one of the aliens, the one who showed them around and explained what was going on, spoke broken English. On the one hand, this feels pretty convenient. On the other, it makes a lot of practical sense, since any visiting aliens will have likely been studying Earth for a long time beforehand. They could have easily learned Earth's languages and taught themselves when to use each and every one of them. Then again, would it even matter? Close encounter stories don't tend to focus on the general conversation between alien and abductee. Instead, there's often an emphasis on the extraterrestrial visitors conducting strange and sometimes unpleasant experiments. This also happened to the Hills, with Betty remembering samples being taken and having a long needle inserted into her stomach. While many more alleged abductees have also claimed they've been probed and subjected to invasive examinations. If you had a third kind encounter of this type, then it would be at best uncomfortable, at worst totally traumatizing. That said, it's also been claimed that arriving aliens have offered to help people in the past, too, or to take them on extraordinary journeys across the universe, or even to their home planet. In the case of the Hill abduction, these friendlier terms were never reached. But according to Betty, the aliens did reveal where their home was, in the Zeta Reticuli star system. In general, though, it's possible, even probable, that you wouldn't be able to understand many of the things you were being shown or told about during a close encounter of the third kind. As the iconic writer Arthur C. Clarke famously said, quote, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic," end quote. And therein lies one of the biggest issues when it comes to close encounter stories. Because if you can't truly understand what it is you're experiencing, then you may never be able to convincingly recount your story to anyone else. In fact, this is one of the only things we know would almost certainly happen if you had a close encounter of the third kind. The vast majority of people wouldn't believe you. The problem is that despite the many thousands of reported alien sightings from all over the world, we still don't have conclusive proof that aliens really do exist. Most scientists suspect and reason that they do, but not one of our established space agencies or organizations or governments has officially confirmed it. That aliens exist isn't yet a fact. And your testimony post-encounter probably wouldn't ever be enough to convince anybody who didn't already believe. Not only could this be frustrating, but it could be upsetting, since people would poke holes in your story and probably make fun of you. What's more, even if it wasn't just you, even if the entire world had a close encounter, witnessing some kind of extraterrestrial event that couldn't reasonably be denied, there would still be plenty of skeptics and millions of people claiming that it was a hoax. But still, you wouldn't be completely alone. Today, there are dedicated support groups for alien abductees, often formed by alien abductees, where people can share their experiences and be listened to without judgment. These groups are important, not least because those who allege a close encounter also often report genuine psychological effects, with it being suggested that the phenomenon should be called post-abduction syndrome, although PAS doesn't yet have a great deal of backing from medical professionals. Nevertheless, it has previously been noted that some who claim alien abduction have also exhibited symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. So the psychological effects of a close encounter could be long-lasting, and only worsened by how many people don't take you seriously. Eventually, you could even begin doubting your own experience, wondering if those aliens ever actually existed. But then there's some argument that this kind of mind scrambling is exactly what a nefarious alien would want to happen to their victims. So there's that to consider too. There have been reports of physical symptoms from an encounter as well, however, with many alleged abductees saying they felt physically ill afterwards. In 1952, for example, the mysterious Flatwoods Monster was reportedly sighted in rural West Virginia, and those who witnessed it recalled that there was a foul smell that made them nauseous and left them feeling ill for days after the sighting. And it's not as though an adverse reaction like this would be really that unexpected if life from Earth ever were to mix with life not from Earth. Because who knows what kinds of germs, pathogens, or physical unknowns an alien could bring with them. Ultimately, the Hynek scale serves to give us some insight into the types of alien experiences any one person might have. But if you were to have one tomorrow, if you were to genuinely cross paths with an extraterrestrial, the unfortunate truth is that the majority of people right now wouldn't believe what had happened. You could be living with the repercussions for the rest of your life, but the rest of the world would carry on as normal. And that's what would happen if you had a close encounter of the third kind.
What do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments, check out these other clips from Unveiled, and make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for our latest content.